Hey team, my name is Chris and I'm a surgical service registrar in paediatric surgery, and today I wanted to talk to you about procrastination, why we do it, and how you overcome it to get more done. If we're being honest with ourselves, there's only three main reasons why we procrastinate. The first is that we don't want the outcome in the first place. The second is that we're scared of failing. And the third is that the tasks seem so overwhelming that we don't even want to try. It makes sense, right? If you don't want the outcome, then you have no motivation to complete the tasks required to get to the outcome. If you're afraid of failing, then sometimes it feels easier to just avoid the task than risk the humiliation of having tried and then still failed. And finally, if a task seems overwhelming, then the friction involved in even getting started can just seem way too much to overcome. And so we lie to ourselves and we say that down the track, there'll be a moment when it will be easier or seem more achievable. The truth is, though, that all of these are fallacies, illogical reasons for inaction that lead to us avoiding the task and not getting anything done. And so the question is, how do you combat this? Are there any techniques that you can use to see past these illogical reasons and overcome them? The first is to sit down and honestly audit the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. Does the end justify the means? And if it doesn't, are there other things that you need to consider or different goals that you need to consider that might motivate you more? That's not to say that the work is always enjoyable. Sometimes the outcome will be worth it, but the work itself is pretty dull or difficult to do. But if the outcome or the goal isn't what you're looking for in the first place, then you can't even take the first step towards motivating yourself because the ultimate endpoint is not where you want to be. The next step is to assess how much you care about what people think about your outcome and whether or not you should care about what people think about the outcome. Is the reputational loss of not even attempting the task really worth the outcome of guaranteeing failure? Having said that, in some cases, maybe that is true, and maybe it is a realistic and a valid concern and a reason not to complete the task. But the only way to guarantee that you're not going to achieve the goal is to not try in the first place. And so if the goal is your ultimate objective, then it makes no sense to avoid giving yourself the possibility of success simply because of what someone else might think of the process. Finally, if the work seems overwhelming, then you need to start thinking about, why is it that the task itself that I need to do overwhelming to me? Can I break it down into its smallest possible functional components so that even though there are more overall tasks, each one of those tasks is easier to complete? This is really just decreasing the amount of friction involved in you getting started on moving towards the ultimate outcome. And if you can decrease that friction to a sufficient level where it seems easy to take the next step, then you're more likely to take the next step. And even if there are more steps involved, at least you're moving forward. Whereas in the first stage, if there's an overwhelming single task to do and you don't do it, you haven't made any progress at all. So next time you're procrastinating, think about those three reasons. Is it that I don't want the goal? And if you do, then you have a reason to start. Is it that I'm concerned about what someone thinks? And if you are concerned about it, is that valid or not? If it's not, then you need to have a go in order to succeed in the first place. And finally, is it that the task is overwhelming and I need to break it down into smaller tasks so that they're easier to complete and my goal is therefore easier to get to? Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, enjoy the work.